Kikaria, then Mase. In that order. Take those three.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Joe, I hear you talk about policies and systems. Should you get the favor of the House, my proposal will be concentrated on the actions. If you live in these policies and systems, you will leave that office with systems and policies, having not even approved. So that's my advice. But my question is, the governors who have been ministers, Honorable Joe, have not gotten a good rating from where I sit. They have been accused of being desk ministers, governors, former governors. I don't know whether they got a lot of comfort when they were governors or they became two bosses when they were governors, and therefore they are not actually seen in the field. What will you convince this committee to believe in you? And particularly, I think I like the word you said, that what we lack is confidence. I think it's true, because I come from a mineral county, which is West Pokot. Confidence of investors coming to invest, and also confidence of the people accepting investors. What will you convince this committee, Honorable Joe, that you will be in these mineral counties in building confidence, and for both sides, the investors and, or you will go to Mombasa, because now blue economy in Mombasa, will you be also be in mineral counties to build confidence? Thank you, Speaker.
Can I?
Three. Ikaria,
Thank you.
just record and answer them quickly in the order they came. Ikaria, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman.
Switch off your mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I think the exploration is something that the nominee has said he's going to look into, and I'm saying this in relation to the corporation, the National Mining Corporation, which is a corporation of government, which is in exploration and does nothing other than just getting salaries and doing nothing in exploration. As we look at, I was trying to look at the law as to whether we have timelines for exploration. I remember in the Energy Act, we have 2 years for exploration. After that, your license expires. The other bit that also needs, you need to look at is the Mineral Rights Board, the licensing board that gives, there is a lot of bureaucracy in terms of giving licenses on time. It's like they don't have a service charter for, if you apply today, by what time should you be able to get your license. But the most important thing is, let me talk about the artisanal miners. Honorable nominee, artisanal miner is a big area of employment. And of course, we know there is a cooperative that has come in place. But again, the licensing of these cooperatives and artisanal miners has become an issue with the Mineral Rights Board. So what are you going to do to help our young men and people who work in doing artisanal mining across the country, who do the illegal mining per se in quotes, but who have been applying through cooperatives, and then it takes forever for them to be able, and getting very, very bad prices or bad for the product that they get from the mines. Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Mary Massey.
Thank you, Speaker. Nominee, my first one's a comment. It's good that you mentioned about redesigning our training programs. Through you, Speaker, recently the Maritime Authority advertised for jobs for Kenyans to work in the vessels. And the requirement was just basically training in hospitality, front office, and a foreign language, which is German. But I put it to you, they could hardly raise the numbers that were needed. So seriously, it is an area of concern, because we are losing out on opportunities as Kenyans, yet we're talking about unemployment. So, Honorable nominee, if approved, I think that is one of the areas you need to seriously focus on, to ensure that we're training in all disciplines related to maritime, so that we can benefit from the opportunities. So my question is, and this is from a Kenyan, in 2010, the then internal security minister, the late Honorable George Saitoti, tabled a list in Parliament containing 4 members of Parliament, including yourself as a suspected drug trafficker. The US Embassy also stated that Kenya anti-narcotic unit suspected that you were involved in narcotic trade. Are you aware of these grave allegations and the effects of drug addiction in our nation? If so, kindly shed some light on that. Thank you.
Answer those three.
Honorable Kosing, my record speaks for itself. I was not in any way a desk governor. I am a ground person. I am a ground person. That is why I left Mombasa County with the best cardiac center in the country and possibly in the continent. I left Mombasa County with state-of-the-art cancer treatment center. I left the county with a lot of social development programs that are on record. So I'm just picking a few. Mr. Speaker, today if I have a cardiac issue, I want to tell you, and I will encourage all of you and those that have visited Mombasa, if you have a cardiac issue, because general is your place. Because they have the state-of-the-art cath lab with well-trained doctors that constantly do open heart surgeries, fix cardiac issues quickly, and that was my leadership. So I provide leadership, and I will. And in the mining and blue economy and maritime, if you approve me, I will hit the ground running, Mr. Speaker. On matters of licensing, I don't know whether this committee understands the process that is applied on licensing, but I'll quickly share from what I found out. And I'm saying that this I found out from the private sector. Number one, you go to the potential area and engage either the landlord or the communities or the county. Then you get a consent. Then online, there is what they call the cadastre that covers the whole country in potential areas in matters mining. Then once you have the consent, you peg on the cadastre. And then at that point, you do a physical license application. And I've already heard of many instances that people have falsified documents to peg on the cadastre. That is number one hindrance on efficiency on issuing license. Because then therefore, a true potential, and this basically mostly is done by speculators. So the true potential investor does not get an opportunity to even apply. So we first of all must fix how we handle the pegging. We must have technological means of ensuring that whatever is used to peg a site meets the standards. I have had, for example, someone would just upload a newspaper, and that acts as a consent, because the technology currently doesn't have the ability to authenticate some of those documents that are uploaded. So what do I say? I say we need to digitize end to end. We must digitize it end to end. And Mr. Speaker, let me put it this way. Even in our own country, I know for sure, for certain, there are young people with enormous capacity and potential to help us develop. I must also say that I was taken by surprise when during Mandamanos there are some young Kenyans who quickly developed and designed a communication program. And people are communicating like an app overnight. It tells you our young people have the capacity. And for me, Mr. Speaker, if I'm approved, my urgent and priority first step is to involve the young people. They can help us grow. They can help us fix many things locally. Like, for example, I believe something like a cadastre where holds a lot of information that is very strategic for the country, must be fully hosted here. Cannot be hosted, for example, by a competing country. So for us, what do? We invest in technology end to end. Right now, I'm informed that they have done it, but there's quite a human interaction phase that we must try and do away. It will create efficiency. It will also deal with corruption issues. So I hear you, Mheshimiwa, and I can tell you that that will be my priority. And also, I want to talk on the artisanal miners and licensing. They go through similar challenges, Mr. Speaker. They go exactly how a private sector investor suffers is the same way, unfortunately, the artisanal miner also suffers. So that, for me, is something that I must look into. For me, Kenyans must be allowed to exploit their wealth so that they can better their lives in a manner that is organized, safe, and most importantly, beneficial to them. So that I will do. Mheshimiwa Imase, you talked about training. I couldn't agree more that we must design our programs or the architecture of training in a manner that fits the needs of the players. We must do that. I mean, there's no two ways. What do I think I will do? Obviously, I will begin by evaluating the Bandari Academy. But I'm going also to try and forge partnership with, for example, Technical University of Mombasa, the universities around the lake areas, and many others, because those job opportunities are not only for the coastal people. They are not only, they're for every Kenyan. And therefore, we must create a partnership in designing an architectural plan that conforms to what the industry needs. And I will work closely with private sector. Mr. Speaker, finally, Honorable Imase talked about a citizen that sent you SMS.
A question on SMS.
On the drug baron issue. You know, the irony for me is that when you want to pick records selectively, that is what challenges me. The quagmire for me is I don't understand if you come and table a report. Obviously, there must be some subsequent actions. And I want to also, this is one matter that I really hope we can put to permanent closure, Mr. Speaker. When I was campaigning in 2013, in Mombasa, there were billboards put up. Don't vote the baron, vote change. Mr. Speaker, let me begin with that report. Yes, I thought he tabled the report on a dossier that he was given, that was passed to him through the American embassy. What normally happens is that when you table or pass a dossier, it is investigated, I believe. It is worked on. So that happened. The late Honorable Saitoti, may the Almighty rest his soul in eternal peace, came back to Parliament with a report. He came back to Parliament and tabled a report of investigation and the outcome. And it was a multi-agency, almost international investigation that clearly stated, and I'm going to only speak for myself, that no iota of evidence was found against me. Mr. Speaker, let me put it this way. I'm not a fool. I come from a family that is blessed with businesses. And I am thankful to Almighty for what I have. So number one, that investigation was concluded. Number two, Honorable Emasi. First term as governor, I was the greatest critic of the Jubilee administration. Had lots of personal altercation. They came after me in businesses. In many fronts. Don't you think for a minute, if I was involved in any illegal activity, I would have survived that regime? They would quickly have used it to, like they say, I remember, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, just indulge me a minute. I remember at that time, the president came to Mombasa and said, "Tutamalizana na huyu." They would have used it. So please, Kenyans, I want to assure you here today that I do clean business. Visible, that can be audited, can be seen, physical, and therefore, please, Mr. Speaker, if anybody talks about a report that was tabled on the dossier, also talk about the report that came after that, that cleared us. And I am particularly interested because first point for me to call and try and interest investors to come, I am planning to go to the United States. They are known for big investments in mining, and it is my plan to go and engage them, interest companies from the United States.
The same Americans gave you a visa to accompany me as foreign minister to the US.
Exactly, Mr. Speaker, just after that. In fact, just after the I went.
Immediately after that.
And I've been to America many times, and I intend to continue to go to America, because America really, Mr. Speaker, I think we're going to be looking that way to get investors to come and invest, particularly in the areas of mining. So, Mr. Speaker, that matter, again, I hope it comes to permanent closure. Because it's all like education, it comes up only when they're seeing an opportunity.
But don't be pigeonholed to America. There are even bigger mining countries like Australia.
In Canada, Australia.
Others, yes.
And even here, by the way, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether you know, I've just found out, in fact, just yesterday, that Kenyans have invested heavily in mining in Tanzania. So even here we have them.
Are you talking about me?
Daud Murugara, order nominee, no altercations with members. Daud Murugara, then Owen, in that order.